Yeah. Again, us.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's start by telling Sardinians who are you, sir?
Yes, I'm Honorable Saa Emerson Lamina, the leader of C4C in Parliament. I'm also heading the Committee on Mines and Mineral Resources in the House of Parliament.
Now, the state opening address. First off, the state opening address is an extract from the manifesto of SLPP. In 2018, the president was here. He delivered the address. 19, 20, and as well as 2021. In a whole, what is your assessment from 2018 to date?
I realize in the very address to Parliament on the 18th of May, the president is on a correct footing, trying to actualize what you have said is manifesto. I'm not too friendly or familiar with the manifesto of the SLPP. C4C, but from what he expressed as means of challenges, intentions, and promises already delivered, he seems to be on the right and correct footing to the people of this nation.
Let's look at some of your sentences. The president is a giant infrastructural developer. What do you mean?
Yeah, we realized that 60 years on since independence, I've realized that because there was no national agenda for this country, we realized that Party A or Party B, they have been moving their own agenda. We are not oblivious of this fact that this country has been on the trajectory of coups and counter-coups since independence. Civil war came, civil war ended, corruption has been the hallmark over the 60 years, and we've also been mad with diseases, Ebola at one time, COVID-19 in this particular era. All this we've been grappling with it. We realize that in essence the president has actualized some of his promises he did make to Parliament on the very first address in 2018. So coming back to the phrase that the giant developer have seen, have had. 2 months ago, we went on oversight committee of works. We went to as far as Sierra in the Leone District. We saw regraveling of roads amounting to 1,780 kilometers. That cut across Tonkolili, cut across another district where I am from, and so huge. If you go to Kono now, you see the regraveling of roads within, cut across also in Nimeko, Kubola, in the Kwenalumo Falawa districts, and it also came to the Tongo field area from the Kangawan grammar. All of these things can be synopsisized as a giant infrastructural developer. Coming to Trunk Road, if you go to Kenima now, you will see the bush of major streets in Kenima City, in Go, in Bonds, in Moyamba Junction, even Nomatu River in the peninsula there. You can also see contractors being very busy, all of these things. So that's suffice for him to be called a giant infrastructural developer.
It is believed, or critics will say, that most time, if not all, you are on the side of the government bench. Does that bother you?
It does not, because I live on conscience. When I came here, I took oaths that I will serve my nation conscientiously, my conscience. Forget not the fact that the mantra of my political party is nation first. I'm not bored by the aspersion of armchair critics. Who are these armchair critics? Coming Coming, who are these armchair critics? Armchair critics are people who criticize, they oppose, but in the midst of their opposition, sadly enough, they have nothing to contribute. So I refer to them as armchair critics. Armchair critics because they criticize, they oppose, but they cannot provide recommendations, solutions for the nation to go ahead. So I'm really not bothered about their expansion. These are pessimists. I'm not a pessimist. I'm very optimistic and hopeful for the development of this country.
It is believed also by other people that as an opposition MP, you should be opposing as how others are doing.
Forget not the fact that the party mantra, the party that I represent is C4C, and their mantra is nation first. We oppose, we criticize. Remember that as a result of faith, we could not implement our manifesto. But there are very rich clauses, very sentences, very paragraphs in the manifesto of the C4C, and because we could not implement it firsthand, most of the time we borrow from those rich tenets and values from the C4C and we prefer in the form of recommendation to the sitting government. We do oppose. And when we oppose, the difference here is between us and other political parties. They don't prefer recommendation, they just criticize. All the time they cry stinking fish of issues, but they cannot prefer recommendation, and that is bad. That's the University Act. It was in 2005 we got the University Act, Jala separating from the University of Sierra Leone. Today, has seen giving birth to 3 new universities, including the University of Science and Technology from my own very home district, Kono, Magai University. Do you know PKOMIL?
I don't.
It is at Wellington, PKOMIL. Taking lectures here, we are only opportunity to have one bus, just a single bus, and if that bus leaves you first round, it will take you from Longley to Wellington. Who dare you? You forgo lectures for that day. So you can notice the pain and the agonizing rapidity of the excruciating pain. You can realize that. We used to take lectures at Friday College mathematics class, that is where we go. Then at National Stadium. Then we come back at our hill, Agricultural Center here. And then we ended up at SLBC. So for us to have a resident higher, new brand university at our doorstep, I think we must commend this government for correcting historical injustice against the people of Kono. Because it will now give opportunity, without prejudice, to Kono children not to go to far east, far north, in the western area, but to reside in Kono from class 1, attaining master's degree, even PhD. That's a very big opportunity. If you go to Mokune Jala today, you will see kids, they don't know Freetown, but they are educated, well educated. Dare not to try them, because you speak clean and fine English that stands the test of time. That is it. So this for us is a big opportunity for us to have a university of science and technology to be named after the district of Kono.
Leader, descendants of Kono today, after sitting in the Chamber of Parliament, we are posing snapshots, including the aggrieved MPs, if I'm safe to say so. I mean, what signal does that say to you as a leader of the party?
Well, I don't know who you call aggrieved MPs. This is a day that actually predicts and happiness, fulfillment. Nobody hates development, especially coming to your own very home districts. So you can see the uniformity and the unity of MPs from far, MPs from near, and even our descendants that took their precious time to be part of this history making. It is considered to be history making. History making because it will not give the legality of a school, university to operate without any encumbrance, like the encumbrance you now have at the Lincoln Queen. Well, the least said about that, it will be the better. But for this university to go through the Well of Parliament. Remember, Section 105 in Sierra Leone's 1991 Constitution makes Parliament as a supreme legislative authority. All agreements, all laws, the supremacy of it is here in the House of Parliament. And this is just the justice. We, members from the Technical and Higher Education Committee, and we, members from the corner districts as MPs, who just done justice on first stage. Tomorrow we'll continue at the committee stage. And at that committee stage, those things that you will see as a threat with the smooth operation of the university will be picked up and will be trashed at that committee stage, and the finality of which will come out in due course.
Lastly, the fifth parliament is about to come to an end. Are we expecting C4C MPs to come together? If yes, how so?
Definitely, C4C. What is happening to us now is not strange. Trace the history of political parties and their formation. At a particular time, PMDC had their own bites. The Urubalo we saw, they came and contested the 2018 election amidst court cases and counter-court cases. The APC is also a fine example. If you are closely following the APC, they got there along the line. 2007, they came together. The former president, late Mohamed Yankaba, contributed to pour peace on troubled waters. They had their peace. They contested. See the fortune that came. They won 2007. The SLPP at a particular time, you also saw their cases between plaintiff and defendants that saw the retired brigadier today as president. So what is happening to us is not strange in any case. The C4C just getting their own bite as newborn babies. But one hope I will give to you in 2023, the C4C is going to grab more metros. I'm talking of councils. The C4C is going to increase on its seats in this Well of Parliament. At the moment, we started with 8. But the people of Falaba, looking at the linguistic similarity and the closeness between Falaba and Kono district, they are now yearning for C4C to be launched in the Falaba district. Looking at also the closeness and the proximity between us and the people of Kaila in the Kisi Kingdom, they are also yearning. Remember also in this western area, people are seeing C4C as the party that will bring side to their situation. The way we articulate issues, our intention for the country, etc., etc. To surprise you to know that come 2023 election, we are going to add more councils, more councillors, more MPs, etc., etc. in the 2023 coming elections. Right. So C4C is regrouping to reposition our state as a thriving and strong party in this country.
We also, lastly, Honorable, we also saw you presented your report on this particular state committee that we have to look into the activities of mining.
Yes.
So, what entails in that report?
Yeah, the parliament. Yeah, the parliament. Yeah, the parliament. Okay. Yeah, I'm so sorry about it. It's a very important call. Yes, today I tabled also a report that has to do with water pollution within the Tai John area and the Matotoka area in the Tonkolili district and the Bo district respectively. That report is very important. It came as a result of an honorable member from Bon district, Honorable Komabe, who stood on SO23. SO23 normally talks of somebody's personal issues regarding his or her constituency. And when I tell you stood on SO23, she articulated her plights of polluted water along that line. It was based upon that, Mr. Speaker summoned a special select committee, which I humbly became the chairperson, heading people from other committees, including local government, environment, mining, etc., etc. So all of those MPs came together. I led them to communities such as Manadase, Matujon, Kayama, Matotoka, Tene, Kangari Hills, Balunia, Mando, etc., etc. Pastols were engaged. That was the methodology used. We use the methodology and the procedure of engaging community people, gathered first-hand piece of information, and journalists, community people also wrote reports, submitted it to the committee. At the end of the day, we did site visits and we realized that our waters have been polluted as a result of illicit and illegal mining. I'm talking of gold mining, sand mining, fishing activities, encroachment, deforestation, etc., etc. All of those activities, even defecation of the waters. Remember, we have signed to the SDG that talks of Article 6.3.2, which actually gives or makes it incumbent upon us to preserve safe, clean drinking water within the territories of Sierra Leone. So realizing that also realize that we have 12 basins of waters, 6 months of rains and tributary. So realize that from our observation that each water pollution is as a result of the dangerous mining done along the Tompoli district, the Pampana River, that comes across the Tae Matujon area. So we also realize that 17 people have already died of water pollution diseases. This is so sad to people. We also realize that boreholes have been tampered with, which calls for immediate rehabilitation. We realize also Turkish citizens are so many around the Kangari Hills in the Tonkoli districts with not correct documents, yet they ravage our mineral resources. All of those things we took note, and we recommended that the paramount chiefs living around those areas be summoned immediately, Parliament, and the mines compliance officers working around those areas be also summoned, and to put on hold all illicit and illegal mining activities until the real modalities are put in place. So these are some of the recommendations we made to the
Last, finally, after you tabled the report, we saw the Leader of Government Business proposed for it to be debated. What's your takes on that? That means
definitely, and it is from that debate the Leader of Government Business saw it very important, and he has called for debate, and consequently second that the debate will come on Thursday. The recommendations from those debates will be collated and it will be registered to the executive for prompt action to be taken.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.